For the last 20 years, the standard playbook for energy independence has been remarkably predictable. Homeowners would bolt a few blue silicon rectangles to their roofs, wire them to a single, generalized lithium-ion battery box in their garages, and hope for the best. But if you are chasing true off-grid resilience, modern homesteading, or profound energy sovereignty, that old paradigm is completely dead. Relying on a single, monolithic battery unit to run your entire property is no longer the most effective approach. It is an expensive choice that reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of physics and household power dynamics. True energy independence in the modern era requires a systems-based approach. It is entirely about capturing, storing, and deploying power and heat across completely different mediums based on efficiency, physical footprint, and precise household loads. The centralized power grid is more vulnerable than ever before. Between rolling blackouts, skyrocketing utility rate hikes, and fragile international supply chains, waiting around for multi-billion-dollar utility companies to upgrade their infrastructure is a losing strategy. But relying on legacy lead-acid batteries or volatile early-generation lithium chemistries that are prone to catching fire isn't much better. Right now, the cutting edge of home energy storage is undergoing a massive, silent revolution. We are moving far beyond basic electrical boxes and actively tapping into advanced electrochemistry, thermochemical storage, and even passive, sensible heat flywheels. Today, we are breaking down the 5 best energy storage options for homeowners. We will look at the exact physics, the real-world economics, and the specific off-the-shelf products you can buy right now to make these innovative projects a reality in your own home. Number 5. The Batsand battery. To kick off the list, we're first going to have a look at the Batsand battery. To truly understand why this is a real innovation in the energy storage space, we have to look at the biggest, most frustrating hidden tax on our energy independence, which is space heating. In most American family homes, thermal loads account for up to a staggering 71% of the total household energy consumption. This massive chunk of energy is consumed almost entirely by heating your living space and your domestic water. When winter hits, and the days get painfully short, your solar production drops right when your heating demands skyrocket. Dumping precious, highly refined electrical energy from an expensive chemical battery bank into a resistive space heater just to keep your living room warm is an absolute mechanical tragedy. It drains your reserves and leaves you completely vulnerable to the centralized grid. This residential version of the Batsand battery completely rewrites this dynamic by utilizing a passive, decentralized system deeply rooted in historical homesteading practices. This technology operates on thermodynamic physics that have been thoroughly understood and utilized since the 1800s, leveraging the massive thermal mass and specific heat capacity of dry silica sand to absorb and securely hold extreme heat for hours. Unlike volatile lithium cells that chemically degrade every single time you cycle them, sand is practically indestructible. It does not lose capacity, it does not catch fire, and it never needs a software update. Batsand, a Latvian startup, has designed solutions specifically tailored for residential applications, offering a highly sophisticated 14 kilowatt or 25 kilowatt commercial system that brings the ancient concept of the Batsand battery directly into the plug-and-play modern era. You simply purchase their proprietary air heater, their advanced air-to-water heat exchanger, and their digital control system as a complete, integrated package. And the mechanics of this system are absolutely staggering. During the blazing heat of summer, or whenever your rooftop solar panels are producing excess energy that would normally be wasted, the system springs into action. Their highly efficient resistive heaters capture that surplus electricity, superheat ambient air up to an incredible 930 degrees Fahrenheit, and blow it through heavily insulated stainless steel tubes directly into a massive sand container. This containment unit can be built precisely to their architectural specifications and easily buried right in your backyard, much like a standard septic tank. This brilliant design keeps your entire power plant completely out of sight, bypassing restrictive local zoning laws while acting as a massive, heavily insulated geothermal battery beneath your lawn. When the freezing winter months finally arrive, the Batsand control system automatically wakes up. It begins recirculating that trapped heat back into your home, running the superheated air through the heat exchanger to provide highly consistent, high-temperature water directly into your central heating system or radiant floors. The smaller 14 kilowatt configuration is perfectly designed for homes ranging between 2,000 and 5,400 square feet. It costs roughly $7,000 for the core hardware, but when installed moves nearer to $20,000. This sounds expensive, but when you factor in the reality that it can entirely replace an expensive, fossil fuel-dependent standard gas furnace while requiring virtually zero maintenance, it becomes an incredibly accessible, off-the-shelf asset. This system could turn the earth beneath your feet into an impenetrable thermal fortress, keeping your family warm without ever spinning a utility meter. Unfortunately, we are still waiting to see the first fully operational installation with real-time data. So while this certainly looks extremely promising, that is the reason we've made it number 5 on our list. Next up is the Sunamp PCM thermal battery. Where the sand battery tackles space heating, our number 4 spot goes to a high-density, high-tech engineering masterpiece that tackles the exact opposite side of the thermal equation, which is domestic hot water. A standard hot water tank is incredibly inefficient, relying on a deeply flawed thermodynamic concept known as sensible heat. This means it only stores energy by forcing a massive volume of liquid water to continuously rise in temperature. Because of this outdated physics, you are forced to keep a massive, bulky 50-gallon or 80-gallon cylindrical tank sitting in your utility closet, constantly bleeding its precious heat into the surrounding air 24 hours a day. You are essentially paying the multi-billion-dollar utility company to constantly reheat a stagnant body of water while it just sits there waiting for you to turn on a tap. Phase-change material thermal batteries completely reject this archaic limitation by storing energy through changing the physical state of a specialized compound from a solid to a liquid. The absolute leading off-the-shelf product in this category is the Sunamp Thermino series. Sunamp has absolutely perfected this technology, packing their sleek, modern, appliance-like cabinets with a highly engineered, non-toxic, and completely non-flammable salt hydrate known as Plentigrade phase-change material. When you pump your surplus solar energy into the Thermino, the internal material reaches its specific target temperature and begins to melt. During this melting process, the material absorbs an absolutely immense amount of latent heat as it transitions from a solid to a liquid, doing so without rising a single degree in its internal temperature. It utilizes your captured energy purely to break its internal crystalline molecular bonds. This breathtaking leap in material science allows the Sunamp Thermino to store the exact same amount of raw thermal energy as a massive 53-gallon hot water cylinder, but it does so in a physical cabinet that is up to 4 times smaller. You can buy a mid-sized Sunamp Thermino unit right off the shelf for roughly $4,300. Unlike traditional solar hot water systems that require massive plumbing overhauls, this unit comes completely self-contained and ready for a standard plumber to tie directly into your cold mains water line. Furthermore, it completely eliminates the hygienic dangers of standard hot water tanks. Because it contains less than 4 gallons of internal water volume at any given time, there is no massive tank of warm, stagnant water breeding dangerous bacteria. Instead, fresh cold water is instantly flash heated on demand as it travels through a highly conductive heat exchanger embedded deep inside the molten core, giving you endless, high-pressure, zero-carbon hot water. To unlock the true off-grid superpower of this setup, you pair it with an off-the-shelf smart power diverter like the MyEnergy Eddy. This brilliant electronic brain monitors your home's main electrical panel 100 times per second. The exact fraction of a second your rooftop solar array produces more electricity than your house is currently consuming. This system automatically intercepts that excess alternating current wattage before it can bleed back to the utility grid for pennies. It instantly funnels that clipped solar power straight into the Thermino's internal resistive heating element. By capturing every single stray watt of energy, this integrated system allows you to supply up to 63% of your annual hot water directly from free sunshine, drastically reducing your utility bill and reclaiming your home's mechanical room from the industrial era. Number 3. Supercap Energy Graphene Supercapacitor Batteries. When we shift our focus back to raw electrical storage, we run into a massive technical wall that the mainstream battery industry desperately tries to hide, which is chemical degradation. Standard lithium batteries suffer from physical, structural fatigue every single time they charge and discharge, meaning heavy daily use will eventually destroy them. Every cycle forces lithium ions to squeeze into a solid lattice structure, causing microscopic cracking and capacity fade over time. If your off-grid dream setup involves running a high-draw homestead workshop, operating heavy agricultural equipment, or charging electric vehicles that completely drain your system on a daily basis, standard lithium packs will wear out far faster than advertised. That is why the Graphene supercapacitor battery is the ultimate choice for the rugged, high-demand property owner who refuses to rent their life from a centralized utility grid. Unlike traditional chemical batteries that rely on slow, destructive electrochemical reactions, supercapacitors store energy electrostatically. Because there is virtually no transfer of charge between the electrode and the electrolyte, there is no chemical wear and tear. This absence of electrochemical processing prevents rapid aging, granting these units an absolutely staggering lifespan. This unique physical mechanism delivers unparalleled operational advantages for a residential homestead. First, you can safely drain the unit to a 99% depth of discharge without causing a single shred of mechanical damage. Second, because they generate minimal heat and lack thermal instability, they completely eliminate the risk of thermal runaway fires. They operate flawlessly in extreme temperatures ranging from -4 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning they can sit in an unheated garage or outbuilding without requiring expensive, energy-draining internal heating or active cooling systems. The definitive, purpose-built residential solution in this category is the Supercap Energy Wall Mount family. Supercap Energy has completely commercialized this technology for the residential market, packaging these advanced cells into beautifully sleek, ready-to-install 5.5 kilowatt-hour and 15 kilowatt-hour wall-mounted units. These are rated for an astonishing 20,000 deep discharge cycles. To put that into perspective for a homesteader, that means you can drain the battery from full to absolute empty every single day for over 54 years without needing a replacement. While supercapacitor units represent a premium upfront investment compared to entry-level lithium, the total lifetime cost of energy completely eclipses traditional chemistry. You are purchasing a home energy fortress that will genuinely outlive the very solar panels on your roof, making it a permanent, indestructible sentinel working for your independence. Number 2. CATL sodium-ion batteries. This one belongs to a massive commercial disruption that is completely rewriting the rules of the residential energy sector, which is the sodium-ion battery. For years, the biggest vulnerability for anyone seeking true energy independence was not the technology itself, but the fragile global supply chain. Traditional lithium-ion batteries are heavily reliant on lithium carbonate, a highly constrained material plagued by brutal geopolitical bottlenecks and violent price volatility. Historically, the price of lithium has swung wildly, skyrocketing from $13,000 to a staggering $80,000 per ton, driven by a massive surge in electric vehicle demand, colliding with a rigid supply chain, international trade disputes, and localized mining restrictions. Sodium, however, completely shatters that bottleneck. Derived from basic soda ash, sodium is over 1,000 times more abundant in the Earth's crust than lithium. It can be sourced domestically and abundantly, and its price remains fiercely stable at an incredibly modest $300 per ton. For a long time, this was just experimental lab technology, but thanks to massive production scaling, that era is over. You can now purchase off-the-shelf sodium-ion residential energy storage systems directly from industry giants CATL. CATL has officially launched their first commercial sodium-ion storage systems for the public, bringing this incredibly durable and affordable chemistry straight to your garage. The engineering behind this shift is fascinating. Sodium-ion batteries utilize advanced polyanionic cathode structures to achieve excellent energy density, but the true mechanical masterstroke lies in the current collectors. In a standard lithium battery, the anode must use expensive, heavy copper foil because lithium violently alloys with cheaper aluminum at low voltages, destroying the cell. Sodium does not alloy with aluminum at all, allowing CATL to use cheap, highly conductive, and ultra-lightweight aluminum current collectors for both the anode and the cathode. This minor chemical detail unlocks a massive operational superpower for the homeowner, which is true zero-volt discharge capability. You can completely drain a CATL sodium-ion battery down to exactly 0 volts without causing a single shred of mechanical damage to the internal cell structure. Draining a traditional lithium battery to zero permanently ruins its chemistry, but sodium-ion embraces it. This entirely eliminates the fire hazards and short-circuit risks that plague standard lithium batteries during transport and installation, allowing them to be shipped and handled completely free of stored energy. Financially, these off-the-shelf sodium-ion systems are entering the market at approximately half the upfront price of comparable lithium-ion options. They also provide an incredible advantage in thermal tolerance for homes in harsh climates. While standard lithium batteries require expensive, energy-draining internal heating mats to survive sub-zero winter temperatures, CATL's sodium-ion racks rely purely on passive ambient air cooling. This cuts out the parasitic power drain by up to 90%, ensuring your harvested solar energy goes to your home appliances rather than keeping the battery alive. You can easily connect these ready-to-buy sodium racks to modern high-end hybrid inverters, making them a seamless, ultra-affordable drop-in choice that delivers a staggering 143% projected return on investment. Number 1. EG4 Lithium Iron Phosphate Batteries. This is the absolute king of stationary home power, the advanced lithium iron phosphate system. While zinc-bromine flow batteries dominate heavy industrial cycles and sodium-ion represents the incoming wave of commercial affordability, the undisputed heavyweight foundation of the residential off-grid world right now remains lithium iron phosphate. If you are building a primary home electrical storage system today that needs to handle massive, instantaneous loads, power-high, surge-heavy equipment, and provide rock-solid reliability from the exact moment you turn it on, this chemistry is the absolute gold standard. Unlike older lithium technologies that found their way into cell phones and early electric vehicles, lithium iron phosphate completely eliminates the energy industry's reliance on highly volatile and unethical conflict minerals like cobalt. Instead, it utilizes a highly robust molecular architecture known as an olivine crystal structure. The incredibly strong chemical bonds within this phosphate radical mean the battery refuses to release oxygen even when subjected to extreme thermal abuse, massive overcharging, or severe physical damage. This singular material science breakthrough virtually eliminates the risk of thermal runaway and catastrophic fires, making it the only acceptable lithium chemistry to bring inside your home's living space. When it comes to buying an off-the-shelf solution, the retail market provides incredible products tailored to your exact independence goals. For suburban homeowners looking for a clean, app-managed turnkey backup system to protect against failing local infrastructure, options like the Tesla Powerwall 3 and the Franklin WH Power 2 are premium choices. The Tesla Powerwall 3 features a massive integrated solar inverter capable of pushing out an incredible 11.5 kilowatts of continuous power. This raw muscle allows a single unit to instantly handle the massive inductive startup surges of heavy household appliances like central air conditioning compressors or deep well pumps without breaking a sweat. But if you are a true off-grid homesteader looking to cut the cord permanently, the absolute best off-the-shelf setup on the market is a decoupled, modular system, like the EG4 18 kilowatt photovoltaic hybrid inverter paired directly with their PowerPro server rack batteries. Instead of locking you into an expensive walled garden or forcing you to purchase redundant internal electronics every single time you want to upgrade your capacity, the EG4 architecture gives you total structural freedom. You simply buy their heavy-duty, centralized hybrid inverter once, and then you can incrementally add cheap, 14.3 kilowatt-hour blocks of server rack storage as your property's energy demands grow over time. The EG4 inverter supports a massive 18,000 watts of raw solar input across 3 independent maximum power point tracking controllers. This massive solar capacity ensures you can maximize your ground mounts or roof arrays to rapidly hammer power back into your battery banks during short, dark winter days when the sun barely peeks over the horizon. With these standard systems consistently delivering between 5,000 and 8,000 deep discharge cycles, and an amortized lifetime cost per delivered kilowatt-hour of just 7.5 cents, this off-the-shelf architecture delivers unmatched, unassailable electrical autonomy for your property. The pursuit of energy independence has evolved far beyond simply hanging a backup electrical box on your garage wall. It is now a beautiful, highly sophisticated choreography of advanced physics and thermodynamics, driven by incredible off-the-shelf products that are available to anyone. By understanding the unique material advantages of these 5 breakthrough technologies, you can purchase the exact hardware needed to build a home ecosystem that is not merely a backup to a vulnerable centralized grid, but a permanent, absolute replacement of it. If you are ready to cut the cord entirely and want to see how these breakthrough storage technologies pair with the absolute cutting edge of generation tech, then you will definitely want to check out our video on the 5 innovative solar panels that are completely changing the game for residential off-grid setups. Or take a look at our breakdown of the 6 innovative wind turbine solutions designed to keep your heavy-duty battery banks packed with power all winter long.